Dear learners, welcome to this session on the transformer module. So in today's session we will discuss about the reasons for transformer failure and transformer testing. So learners, I am Dr. Rakhi Sharma from School of Engineering and Technology, Indira Gandhi National Open University, New Delhi. So in our previous sessions, we have discussed the transformer classification, the selection criteria and their placement. As you are aware that the distribution sector has large number of distribution transformers of various capacities. Any failure of these transformer is bound to cause great inconvenience to the consumers and huge financial losses to the utilities. So it is extremely important to avoid the transformer failure. So let us, before start about the transformer failure, let us see the main parts of the transformer. As you are aware that the main part is what core. The core of the transformer is, which is generally laminated core is used in order to avoid the iron losses, which are the hysteresis loss and the eddy current losses. So over the core, the windings are wounded. So generally in the three-phase transformer, the three-limb core is used, and over which the LV winding, low voltage winding, is wounded, and then over the LV winding, in between the insulation, and then HV winding is there. So this transformer has the core, this low voltage winding, high voltage winding, then there can be the tapped winding, which are connected to the tap changer. Then there are bushings. Bushings are there to make the connections from the outside. Suppose this is the 11 kV transformer, 11 kV by 0.433 kV. That means 11 kV is converted into the 400 volt. In that case, the primary side and the one is the secondary side of the transformer. So the primary winding is basically connected to the bushing, and similarly the LT side also the bushings are used. So LV bushing and the high voltage bushing and the low voltage bushings are used here, and then the clamping frames are used. Then you can see the tank, then on-load tap changer also used by changing when the variation of the voltage is done by using the changing the turn ratio. Then it can be the on-load tap changer, so motor drive is used to drive the operating system. Then there is a conservator, so the tank where the oil is filled, similarly the conservator is used. That conservator is an you can see here, this is the cylindrical drum fitted above the transformer tank, and it conserves the transformer oil, and it is vented at the top, you can see here, and filled only half with the oil to allow the expansion and the contraction during the temperature variations in the transformer while operation. Then you can see the breather. One breather is connected with the conservator. So this generally the breather, as its name implies, breathing action is there. So during the heavy loading conditions, the oil temperature rises in the transformer tank, then which causes the increase in the oil volume inside the transformer. And on the contrary, under when the light loading conditions, then transformer oil cools and causing a decrease in the oil volume in the transformer. This movement of the oil level causes what is referred, we can say that the transformer breathing cycle. The air is brought into the tank and then expelled again later. So this is the function of the breather. So I will tell in detail in the next session that the silica gel breather is used. Then radiators are used. You know, the radiator is used for the cooling purpose. That by using the radiator we are increasing the we are expanding the area for the heat radiation. So here for the cooling purpose, tubes are also used. It can be the natural cooling, it can be the forced cooling. In the forced cooling, generally pumps are used. In the natural cooling, air cooling is there, and the fans are also used sometimes for the cooling purpose. So these are some parts of the transformer, and we will discuss in detail in the next session. In this session, we are going to discuss about the important reasons of the transformer distribution transformer failure. So these are maybe the because of the poor performance, and poor performance could be due to the low oil level, draining of the oil due to the leakage or theft of the oil from the transformer. Then it can be because of the improper earthing of the transformer even. Then the failure of the transformer, the poor performance can be because of the frequent fault on the low tension lines, then this leading to the short circuit. Then mechanical failure of the winding can be there, improper tree clearance, and defective breather, consequent ingress of the moisture because of if we use the defective breather. Then low electric strength of oil or winding insulation. So corrosion may be there in the core lamination. So these may cause the poor performance, and then this could lead to the transformer failure. Then there can be other reasons like the improper protection of the transformer, like it results of the using defective or overrated fuses, and consistent overloading, and non-providing of the lightning arrestor can also be the reason for the transformer failure. Then apart from this, there can be the manufacturing defects. So manufacturing defects, this can be result from the improper or inadequate design of the transformer, the poor quality material for the winding, tank, and other part of the transformer. Because of while assembling the transformer, while preparing the assignment, bad workmanship may also be the reason for the various manufacturing defects. Then poor short circuit resistant capacity. So these are some reasons of the transformer failure. So overall, if we these reasons, all these can be classified under some heads. What are these heads? Like aging, then manufacturing defects, then improper structure, erection of the distribution transformer, then improper operation and maintenance of the transformer, then natural calamities. So these are under these heads we are classifying the transformer failure reasons. So now we will discuss these one by one and in brief. So let us discuss about the aging. So the expected life span of the distribution transformer above 100 kVA capacity is about 35 years, and that of up to 100 kVA capacity is about 25 years. So but what experience shows that the most of the transformer failure begin to occur even before 20 years of the life. And until a few years ago, distribution transformer manufacturers incorporated many more safety factors in the design. So what has been found later, that the manufacturers have adopted the cost benefit approach in the design of the transformer. So which just about the manages to satisfy the requirement of the IS specification. So the result is that they compromise on both quality and reliability requirements of the IS specification. So while the transformers so manufactured meet the requisite standards, when tests are conducted before and immediately after the installation, so they fail to do so after a few years of being in operation due to the aging problem. So thus many transformers are unable to serve the expected full life period, and even if they are in service, so they are quite likely to fail before the expected full life due to the lower reliability, and hence giving top priority to the replacement of those in service transformers. This will reduce the transformer failure. Now let us discuss the manufacturing defects. So in the past, distribution transformers served for more than 60 years, which is double the life expectancy. But now many distribution transformers fail after a few years of the service and have to be repaired twice or thrice during their lifetime. So many reasons for premature failure of the transformers are related to the manufacturing defects, and we describe them one by one here under the some points. So we are defining these manufacturing defects under the two heads, like inadequate or poor design, and then improper workmanship. Under the inadequate poor design, what comes? This, like transformer tank size, inadequate size, then percentage impedance or mechanical strength of the coil, which we can say, then improper use of the aluminum wires, or we can say if the conductor is making of the copper wire, then improper use of that, then improper use of the interlayer papers, which is used for the insulation purpose, and use of inferior quality materials. These manufacturing defects may cause the transformer failure. Then other are the improper workmanship also. It comes under the manufacturing defects. Improper alignment of the high voltage winding, improper clamping arrangement, improper connections, inadequate tightening of the core, that even the winding. Because of this poor or improper workmanship, the transformer failure may be there. So now let us discuss about this inadequate or poor design. So the trend of the design is now towards lowering the manufacturing cost per unit, even if it is at the expense of the quality. It has been seen these days. So moreover, that tender appraisal is mostly confined to the initial cost, with no consideration for the for the maintenance of the transformer up to the end of its fair life period. So consequently, the safety factor is affected adversely. Then transformer tank size. So inadequate clearance for free circulation of the oil can lead to the abnormal temperature rise, and causing the great damage to the high voltage winding insulation, and consequently premature failure of the transformer. So the size of the transformer should be proper, and so that the proper clearance are there for the circulation of the oil. Percentage impedance or mechanical strength of the coil. So most of the distribution transformers are located in remote areas, and many times it is not possible to give special attention to the operating conditions. So harsh conditions can also be lead to the transformer failure. So the solution to this problem is lies in designing transformer with large or proper impedance, so as to increase their short circuit withstand capacity. That means the coil should be properly sized, and the impedance should be proper. So the percentage impedance depends upon the some factors. What are these factors? Like the size of the wire used in the high voltage coil, economical size of the coil. It yields to the lower gauge wire. This will be the economical. So, but this reduces the mechanical capability of the coils. As a result, the coils may not be able to withstand the higher current densities which occurs during the short circuit conditions, because during the short circuit condition the large current will be there or the high current will be there, and the coil will not be able to withstand that. Then the other reason is that radial distance between the high voltage and low voltage coil. So you know that the over the core, the low voltage winding near the core, because low voltage is there, that means we need low insulation, and in that case and over that the low voltage winding, high voltage winding is there. So remember one thing, that always near the core we place the low voltage winding, and then after high voltage winding, because when the voltage is high, then what, the insulation requirement is more. So so it would always be economical to keep and it will be efficient method to keep the high voltage winding outside, so that it will be directly in contact with the oil and and insulation between the low voltage and high voltage will be less. So radial distance between the high voltage and low voltage coils. So increasing the radial distance between the high voltage and low voltage coil increases the percentage impedance. So it also leads to the better mechanical strength of the coil to withstand higher short circuit stresses developed during the short circuit conditions. But this lead to the higher cost. So effect of impedance on the short circuit stresses. What are these? So the short circuit stresses are proportional to the square of the short circuit current. So if impedance is increased from 4.5% to 5%, in that case what will happen? The effect of short circuit stress developed in the transformer is reduced considerably. So now discuss other reasons of transformer failure under the inadequate or poor design of the transformer. So improper use of the aluminum wires. So improper use of these wires leads to the high voltage coil failure. We are using this high voltage coil. So use of aluminum conductors has been recommended for the windings up to the 200 kVA transformers only. So however, the super enamel covering of the aluminum wire, this tend to crack during the asymmetrical condition, and this leads to the coil failure, and hence the use of higher cross-sectional conductors with double paper covering would be desirable. So the proper design is required for selecting the size of the coil. So improper use of interlayer papers. Where we use these interlayer papers? Paper used as a insulation materials. So the coil failure generally occurs when interlayer insulation breaks down. Generally it breaks down at the end of the turn and creep to the next layer. So this type of insulation failure can be avoided by using folding papers and reinforcing the end turns insulation by using the proper sleeving. This can be interlayer papers can this break can be avoided. Uniform separation of high voltage coil along with the inner coil using spacers helps to avoid pressing of end turns as well as any further shrinkage during service. So you see that we use proper spacers while the coil is placed in the transformer. So the proper spacers are used to make the duct kind of here, so that the oil can also ingress there. Use of inferior quality material. So use of inferior quality wires for coil, or poor quality of oil and other insulating material, etc. To this bring down the cost of the transformer and also increase the probability of failure of the transformer. So even before the full time of the transformer. So the design or calculation of the tenders should conform to the quality and grade of input material of core and windings furnished in the tender. So for ensuring this, the transformer should be subjected to strip test. This is the one kind of test, and this makes sure that the losses and impedance furnished in the tender have been actually achieved by the transformer. And now let us discuss about the improper workmanship. So apart from the poor design, substandard execution of good design also becomes a reason of the transformer failure. So we now briefly describe some such reasons. So what are these reasons? Like the improper alignment of high voltage windings. So when a transformer is loaded, the primary and the secondary ampere turns act in a magnetic opposition, but are in complete alignment with respect to the core and coils. So So when current flows through the coil, a magnetic field is set up around them, which has an associated magnetic flux. So even a small error in alignment in either coil, that is an asymmetrical ampere turn balancing, leads to production of cross magnetic fluxes, and this results in lower impedance and hence the mechanical failure of the coil. That means there should be the proper alignment of the high voltage winding. Then transformer failure may be because of the improper clamping arrangements in the transformer and improper connections in the transformer. So inadequate clamping arrangement of the high voltage coil, this leads to the what? If you will not clamp it properly with the tank or with the core, in that case there will be the vibration and the movement of the coils during the short circuit conditions, and this resulting the failure of the high voltage coils. Improper connections. In many cases, the connecting delta leads to the bushing are not properly supported on the framework, and this resulting in breakage during the transshipment or at the time of first charge of the transformer. So moreover, it has been seen that the improper soldering of leads will result in open circuit even at the normal full load conditions. And also such transformer may fail while encountering the first fault or even after a few faults. Now, inadequate tightening of core. So the tightening, or that means the core should be tightened properly, even with proper fuse protection on the HV side. So because of this inadequate tightening will result in failure of the transformer due to the collapse of the windings. So the transformer can fail due to this fault, due to mechanical vibration in the core and windings, because the tightening is not proper. That means there will be the vibration. So even under the minor fault condition in the low tension distribution, the transformer will get failed. So now some more reasons of transformer failure are improper structure of the distribution transformer. So IE rules 1956 specify various standard clearances to be maintained when distribution transformers are to be erected. So the standard clearance adopted for the transformer structure will avert its failure. So that means these clearances are specified and transformer should be properly installed while so the clearance should be kept as per the specifications, like the high tension bushing to the ground clearance should be 13 feet. Then AB switch fixed contact to edge fuse, it's 7 feet. So guide shackle to ground, this is 10 feet. So you have to see that non-adherence of these standards make the distribution transformer prone to failure. So this was for the transformer structure, and the various clearances has been given here. Now impact of natural calamities. So under this, the heavy lightning we will discuss. So if the high tension lightning arresters fail to divert the direct lightning strikes or surges due to discontinuity in the earthing system, the high voltage winding can fail due to the surge voltage, or high tension lightning arrestor itself may burst. So then again is bushing flashover. Dust and chemicals this carried with air and deposited on the bushing. This reduces the electric leakage distance and cause flashover. So to avoid this, the bushing, both LT and HT, this should be cleaned properly at regular interval. So however, cotton waste should not be used for the cleaning as this may cause scratches in the bushing. So proper care should be taken, and because improper cleaning can also lead to the flashover of the bushing. Then failure due to contact with birds and other animals. So to avoid the failure of distribution transformer due to a squirrel crossing it, or due to the birds sitting on it, the high tension and low tension bushing and high tension low tension jumper leads from the bushing, it should be covered with yellow tape insulation. So the yellow tape insulation will give or it also indicates the overloaded operation of the transformer by the change of the color of the tape from yellow to black. So these are some reasons of the transformer failure. Now we will discuss the improper operation and maintenance. So transformer failure can also be because of this poor operation and O&M practices. So for example, in addition to the normal full load, continuous overheating and higher no load losses may reduce the life of the transformer. Why? Due to the reduction in the life in the insulating paper, oil, etc. Because continuous heating will be there, then insulation may damage and dielectric strength of the oil may get reduced. So other improper operation maintenance practices leading to transformer failure. These we will discuss these in later part while we will discuss the enhancing the transformer life and its efficiency. In that session we will discuss in detail. So now we summarize reason for the transformer failure. So the reason for transformer failure are damage to the low voltage coil, damage to the high voltage coil, damage to the both the high voltage low voltage coil, both can damage, and there can be the other reasons. So the failure rate is very high in case of the damage to the low voltage coils, the 65%, and there are various causes. The causes are the compressed winding, because the winding are compressed. You can see in the while designing the transformer that between the core and the high voltage winding, the low voltage winding are compressed, and because of some improper compression, the winding may damage. Then insulation failure can be there, dislodging of the spacers, because you know that when the coil discs are placed, then the proper spacers are also used there, and they provide the duct kind of between the coils, and from where the oil can ingress and the proper cooling can be there. So when there is a dislodge of the spacer, the coil can damage. Then broken support or inadequate bolt for tightening. So because of this also that LV can be damaged. Now high voltage coil damage, it is generally 5%, and this caused because of the overloading, inadequate size of the fuses, and defective termination of the coil. These are some reasons. Then damage to both, this happened in the case of the 10% failure rate is this. So any of these causes, any of above we have discussed the causes, maybe the reason of the failure of the both LV and HV coils. Then there are some other reasons, like the failure rate is 20% of other reasons, like poor construction of the transformer tank, defective joints, oil oozing out from the transformer, then punctured radiators and bushings, the gasket damage, tape changer damage. So these can some other reason of the transformer failure. So thus we have studied about the selection of the transformer and their placement and the reasons of the transformer failure in this part, and the selection criteria we discussed in the previous session. So if you are able to prevent these causes of transformer failure, the battle is more than half won. So the rest is taken care by the transformer testing prior to its installation. So let us discuss about some main important transformer testing. So transformer testing needs to be carried out to ensure that the distribution transformer are built with adequate electrical strength to withstand the overvoltage, generally overvoltage due to the switching surges. impinging on the winding without causing flashover. Then adequate mechanical strength. So to ensure the adequate mechanical strength, these transformer testing is done to bear the mechanical stresses developed on the winding during short circuit. So some tests must ideally be conducted on the transformer unit before their acceptance. So what are these? Like testing of the windings. The winding means insulation and their mechanical strength are checked. Then testing of insulating transformer oil, and there are some other tests. So now we discuss these in brief. So testing of winding insulation and mechanical strength. This involves 4 types of tests, which we can describe like high voltage test, induced voltage test, then short circuit test, ratio test. So high voltage test, and this is done to check the dielectric strength of the insulation between the windings operating at different voltage, high voltage and low voltage, and between each of these windings, core and the earth part of the transformer. So it is also called the Maser insulation test for the transformers. Now the induced voltage test. This is conducted to the transformer dielectric strength of the interturn and interlayer, interdisc and interphase insulation. This is also called minor insulation test. So that means the insulation test is done here by inducing the voltage. Now the short circuit test. So this test is conducted for testing the mechanical strength of the transformer winding in terms of its impedance parameters. Then one more test is the ratio test is done. So this test can be carried out for testing the transformer ratio. For example, we can say that shorten turn ratio means turn ratio. We are saying that N1 by N2, primary turn to the secondary turn, like this. So shorten turn can cause improper transformer ratio. This ratio is measured with high accuracy portable digital turn ratio tester only after ensuring the shutdown and complete isolation of the transformer from the system. So we give below the finding of Central Power Research Institute CPRI about the short circuit test. So testing of the insulating transformer oil. So at present transformer oil subjected to the breakdown voltage or breakdown voltage this is also called BDV test to ensure its electrical strength. So other tests to confirm the important transformer characteristics such as acidity and then resistivity, etc. are not carried out before accepting the bulk supply. So thus there is every possibility that manufacturers use inferior quality of oil, and this can lead to the poor insulation resistance between the high voltage to earth or low voltage to earth or high voltage to low voltage and reduce cooling rate. So moreover, it can give rise to abnormal temperature increases even before loading the transformer of its rated capacity. So thus it is important to check whether the transformer oil used in a new one or a reconditioned one or a reclaimed one before the transformer is installed. So both water and water saturated oils are heavier than clean and dry oil and sink to the bottom of the container. So some tests are usually conducted on the transformer oil. What are these? First of all, the inspection of the samples is required. Then acidity test. then analysis of dissolved gas in the oil, then electric strength test. So now we discuss briefly what are these. So inspection of the samples means the color and the color of the oil provide useful information on the quality of the oil and its fitness for use. So we list the factors that should be watched out for during the inspection. By like inspection of the oil sample means we see the cloudiness, the presentation of the oil like this. We see the cloudiness, the color. If the cloudiness is there, that means the reason is that the suspended solid matter such as iron oxide and sludges are there. The muddy colors, if inspected, that means the moisture is there. Then dark color, brown color of the oil is there. Then presence of dissolved asphaltenes. So these are the molecular substances along with the saturated hydrocarbons. So then green color, what it indicates? It indicates the presence of the dissolved copper compounds. Acid smell is there, suppose. In that case, it indicates the presence of the volatile acid which can cause corrosion of the transformer tank and other parts. Then what is this acidity test? Transformer oil deteriorates gradually while in service due to the oxidation. The acidity in the oil causes rusting of ironing work inside the tank above the oil level and attached varnish on the winding. So the recommendation limits for the acidity test and the action required, these are given here. That what action required for the various acidity level of the transformer oil. Suppose the acidity level, this is below 0.5 mg potassium hydroxide per gram. This is the amount of the KOH in milligram to neutralize the 1 gram of the oil, it means. So in that case, no action needs to be taken provided the condition of the oil is satisfactory in all other respects. If it is between 0.5 to 1 mg QH per gram, it's clear that the this is the QH means this is by the titration of this. So amount of the QH in milligram to neutralize the 1 gram of the oil. So this is the method of the testing. Then when the range increases above 1 milligram QH per gram, in that case the oil should be treated or it needs to be treated or discharged. Then analysis of the dissolved gas, how it can be checked. So permissible concentration of dissolved gas in a oil is oil of a healthy transformer. And there can be the various kind of gases like the hydrogen, methane, acetylene, then ethane, carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide. Because the oil gets heated and the dissolved then gases can be there. So the analysis of the dissolved gases is required, and while during its service, suppose the service is less than 4 years, what should be its amount? If between 4 to 10 years, what is the permissible limit? If more than 10 years, then what is the permissible limit? And otherwise the proper action need to be taken for the changing of the oil or discharge of the oil or cleaning of the oil. Then electric strength test, when we say the breakdown voltage test. So this is the most commonly known test applicable to mineral insulating oils, and it was originally developed to test the breakdown voltage of the oil. So we describe the method for the breakdown measurement. What is this? So an oil test cell is used for this, and in which alternating voltage is applied between the two metal sphere 12 millimeter in diameter and placed with a gap of 2.5 millimeter between them. So the voltage is increased until breakdown occurs. So the flashover must be quickly stopped to allow 6 successive measurement of the rupture of the voltage on the same sample. So the value of the electric strength of the sample tested is the average of the 6 measurement. So with this method, the oil electric strength of the oil is tested. That means the breakdown voltage, we determine what is the breakdown voltage for the oil, or dielectric strength of the oil is checked. Some other tests are we now briefly describe these, which are usually conducted on the transformer, and these include the temperature rise test, drying out of the transformer, and open circuit test, and Sumner's test. Like temperature rise test is performed to measure the temperature rise of the main and the conservator tank, and the transformer passes the test if the rise is within the specified limit given by the manufacturer. Then drying out of the transformer, it is necessary if the test indicates the presence of moisture in the transformer oil. Oil does not withstand the dielectric strength test. The insulation resistance readiness are not satisfactory. So what is the method of the drying out of the transformer? Normally the hot oil circulation method should be used for drying out the distribution transformer. In special circumstances where the method does not give a satisfactory result, and short circuit with hot oil circulation should be used. In this method, both core and the winding inside the tank are simultaneously dried out or streamlined with the filter. So moisture dries out from the windings which are placed into the oil, and is removed from the oil by evaporation and filtering. So proper machines is used for this purpose. Then open circuit and the Sumner test. Open circuit test carried out on the transformer for the calculating the no load parameters or the core losses, core losses or iron losses, hysteresis and eddy current losses. Then Sumner test is called the back-to-back test. Is done for the testing of the performance on full load. That means maximum temperature rise test. So generally this use the two similar transformers, Sumner test. So the maximum temperature rise in the large transformer is determined by the full load test. So this test is called a back-to-back test or a regenerative test or Sumner test. A suitable load which absorbs the full load power of the large transformer will not be easily available. So the two identical transformer is used for the back-to-back test, where one transformer acts as a load to the another transformer. Primaries of both transformer are used in a test are connected parallel to with each other, and by measuring the temperature of their oil, withstand capacity of the transformer under the high temperature is determined. So learners, now I am summarizing this. We have discussed that distribution transformers, these are used for the electrical power distribution and the transmission system, and we have seen that the distribution transformers, these may be mounted on the pole, placed on open surface, or fixed on the ground with proper foundation depending upon the size of the and the uses of the transformer. So we have seen the important reasons of the transformer failure, and that poor performance due to the oil level, draining of oil due to the leakage, theft of oil, improper earthing, frequent faults in the lines, and due to some losses then leading to the short circuit, and mechanical failure of the winding, improper protection, manufacturing defects, aging. So these all are the reason of the transformer failure, which we have categorized and we discussed. Then transformer failure also occur due to the O&M practices, poor O&M practices. Like this may cause the continuous overheating and higher no load losses. So these testing must be carried out on the transformer, and transformer are built with adequate electrical and mechanical strength. So tests such as the testing of the winding, insulation and mechanical strength, testing of insulating transformer oil, this we have discussed here. And transformer life, it can be enhanced by following the proper O&M practices. So this will be discussed in the next session. Till then, happy learning. Thank you.